What is concentration and how can we develop it? Can we develop it in ourselves and in children particularly? Very simply put, concentration is the ability to hold the mind on a particular subject or task. That's it. Is there a difference between focus and concentration? Concentration is a word we use a little more broadly, and its subset would be focus. Focus is pinpointing, like when you're throwing darts, you're focusing on a point. Okay, both of them are made of the same energy essentially, and focus is a form of concentration. Can we develop concentration? Is it easy? Can we help children to develop concentration? Because everybody seems to be complaining about kids not having concentration, both parents and teachers. Well, I've spent 30 years in education and I've done quite a few experiments, and I can tell you, if your kid can't concentrate, have hope, it can be done. How? We'll go into this in a bit. Let's understand the nature of concentration. Is it natural? For the mind to wander is very natural. But for the mind to concentrate, well, that's something we have to work on. You know, after the pandemic, so many people have been complaining, especially parents, that, you know, my kid can't concentrate anymore. They can't sit still there, or they've become lost. So the mind keeps wandering, even though the child is quiet. So what happens, in fact, why kids? It happened to a lot of adults also. So let's understand the nature of concentration. Again, the mind will wander all the time. That's natural. It doesn't actually sit at a point. That's hard. Try and look at a small experiment. If you can look at the hands of a clock, where the second hand is there, you could take a look at your wristwatch or the wall clock and see how long you can keep on looking at the wall clock without your mind wandering. Can you hold it for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes? If you can, that's really good, especially if you can hold it for 1.5 minutes. But sometimes what happens, the mind wanders and we are not even conscious that the mind is wandering. So you might think, oh yeah, I can concentrate. But if you do it a couple of times, you might realize that, oh, hey, I thought of this in the middle. So it's not that simple. So we have to cultivate this, build this power. Just as in a gym we build muscles, so we have to build the mind, the muscle of concentration and focus. And it can be done, don't worry. So how do we do it? But we'll get into that in a bit. But firstly, let's talk about why is it important? Why is concentration important? I mean, what happens if you don't have concentration? Frankly, if you don't have concentration, all the other mental faculties are going to suffer. As a human being, we've got lots of other faculties. We can imagine, we can debate, that's logic, we can reason, we can memorize, we are creative, we learn languages and all that. So, on what are all these faculties based? When you're observing, what is your observation based on? What is the basic faculty which is common in all these? Imagination, creativity, logic, memory, concentration, the ability to be able to focus the mind. If you can't focus the mind, what are you going to learn? What are you going to memorize? If you can't focus the mind, you think you can imagine. That's the mind going crazy. No. Imagination is a technique, it's a skill, it can be developed, sure. But before you do that, there has to be a certain degree of concentration. Okay? So, similarly for reasoning, and especially for memory. What are you going to recall if you haven't been able to concentrate in the beginning? So, concentration is key. Where you apply the concentration, how you use it is a totally different topic. Okay? But you can't live without concentration. You can't do anything without concentration. You can't cook, you can't write, you can't take photographs, you can't do anything. Alright? So, our abilities change depending on our power of concentration. If we can concentrate more willfully, consciously, on purpose, as we want to, then we have great potential to do anything else. All the other powers can be harnessed better once we have learned how to harness the power of concentration. How do we do that? What are the methods? What can be done? We'll explore that little by little.